Hey guys, welcome to the garden. Tonight I am going to show you how to create an arch trellis out of a cattle panel and 2 T-posts. So I am standing right now in what will soon be a garden space, but I'm standing on top of a blue tarp. So if I look a little bit like a Smurf, that would be why. So behind me, I have a cattle panel. I have 2 6-foot T-posts. I have a post driver, a bunch of zip ties, and a tape measure. So that is the list. That's all you need to make an arched trellis. I do have a post driver that I use. I got mine at Lowe's a couple years ago. I think it was like $25. It's probably the best $25 I've spent in terms of garden infrastructure. Makes your life so much easier. I use zip ties for my arch trellises. I know that there are like T-post clips out there that you can get that would be a more permanent solution because they're like an aluminum or a metal versus a plastic zip tie. At our old house, I had one arch that had been up for 3 years when we took it down, and none of the zip ties had even considered breaking. So I feel like zip ties are an okay solution. They're also cheap. And they're not necessarily as permanent. So if I want to move this, I can just take the zip ties off with a pair of snips and move it. Getting the panel home is probably the most difficult part because cattle panels are 4 feet wide or 4 feet tall by 16 feet wide. They're actually supposed to be used as like a fence panel to help keep cattle in, which is why they're called a cattle panel. I have gotten them home in a couple different ways. One way, my dad went and picked them up for me in his truck, and he actually just laid them in the bed and then up over the top of the cab with like a towel in between so they don't scratch. The second way I've picked them up is I have actually taken the 2 ends, brought them together, ratchet strapped them, and then sat them in the back of a pickup truck. So those are 2 ways that I've gotten them home, but I do have access to pickup trucks within my life. So if you do not have access to pickup trucks, there are a bunch of other ways you can get them home. I've seen people like roll them up and put them in the back of a minivan. That would work perfectly. Just make sure that you are putting something under them and maybe draping something over the top just in case they do come open, because they can have some sharp edges because they are just like a metal fence panel. So keep that in mind when you are buying these. I bought all of my panels either in 2019 or 2020, and I know that the price has gone up in my area specifically. I'm not sure of anywhere else, but I know my panels that I have, when I bought them, were $20 a piece, and now they are $25 a piece. So keep that in mind when you are considering purchasing things like this, that the prices of things have gone up sometimes pretty significantly. The T-posts I use, the fence posts, there's T-posts and there's H-posts. I don't really know the difference, to be honest, but I use both types interchangeably. The ones I have today are a little bit more heavy duty, and they work a little bit better, but they are also more expensive. Okay, so here's my panel. It starts here and it's going all the way down to there right now. It's a 4 foot by 16 foot panel. My tape measure is down here. This is where I'm going to be putting my 2 T-posts. So one will be down here, one will be down here. This is 6 feet apart, and then the panel will arch in the middle. I have my post driver, and these are the posts I'm using. They are 6 feet long. I do put them in the ground about 1 foot, so about 5 feet of them sticks out. And these are the heavier duty, stronger fence posts. You can get these at Menards, Rural King, you know, any type of like hardware or farm store will have these. And then I just use these just zip ties. They're nothing special. I get them from Harbor Freight because they're insanely cheap, and these are, I don't know how long these are, 8 inches maybe. So those are all the materials you need. Okay, so I scooted my panel out of the way. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this fence post. I usually like to put the little nubbins in, that way the panel has something to grab onto. And I have my post driver, and I'm gonna put this bad boy in the ground. So if you've never put a T-post in the ground, take your foot or use your arms, whatever. Just kind of push it in a little bit by hand at first. That way you have it in the ground and it's not going to fall over. And then you take your post driver, get it up on the top. I have to do this first because I'm not very tall. And then you just drive it into the ground. And you want to stop when the tops of the little sticky out part are just visible above the dirt. I realize sticky out part is very technical, but you know what I mean. This is one from the bottom. This is what I'm talking about, this piece right here. The sticky out part, if you will. So I have one of my T-posts in the ground. I'm gonna take the other one. I'm gonna go do it on the other side. Now that the T-posts are in the ground, both of them, I have my post hole, my post driver, and my tape measure moved out of the way, and we're gonna get the panel up. Now, I'm gonna do this by myself. You can do this by yourself. When I put the rest of these up, I will have help just because it's easier, but I want to show you that you can do this by yourself. Creating an arch is very easy. Essentially, all I'm going to do is take the two ends, pull them together, walk into the middle of the two T-posts, let them go, and then rotate it up. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you how I do that because easier said than done, right? Okay, I'm gonna show you, it's not hard. So here's my one end right here. The other end is way down here. So all I'm gonna do is take this, I'm gonna sit it up like this so it's standing. I'm gonna fold it, put this end inside the T-post, okay? And then I'm gonna take the other end and push it and get it inside the T-post. So now, I stepped in water. All I have to do is rotate it. Now, this is the most difficult part, I will admit. But if you grab it by the top, you can usually sit it up like this. And I put the nubbins on the T-posts in so it can help hold the panel. And then you want to pull the bottoms as you're going. So just pull that bottom corner up and pull it towards you. And you did it. So now, all that's left is to secure it with zip ties. Okay, it's very bright, but all I'm gonna do now is make sure that my post is in the middle of the panel. Ish. I mean, obviously it doesn't have to be exact. I do like to have a crossbar on the T-post though. And then all I'm gonna do is take zip ties and go around the crosses of the panel, just like this, where you can see that there's like a cross. That is where I will attach it to the T-post. Now, I will start kind of right here in the middle, work my way down, and then I will move on to the other side and do the bottom half, and then I will move my way up because I will not be able to attach this all the way at the top. But that's okay, it's not gonna go anywhere. So I'll go all the way down to, you know, the one above the bottom, and then I will go the other direction and basically make an X with zip ties and then move to the other side. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. This is just how I do it. If you feel more comfortable doing it a different way, do it however makes you feel the most comfortable. But that's what I will do, and then I will move to the other side and then I will come back. Okay, so panel is up. It is arched, as you can, I think, maybe see, I don't know. So it's right here. It goes up. I can put my hands through it, which is what I like. I am using this one a little bit wider. Normally I would do 5 feet apart at the base. This one is 6 feet apart at the base. That is just because it is also the entrance to my little perennial herb garden area. But in case anyone was wondering how strong these panels are, I am 5.5 feet tall and way more than I'm willing to admit. And it takes quite a bit of strength for me to be able to pull the top of this down. I probably could hang off of it if I really wanted to. Do I want to? No, but I probably could. Anything you plant up here is not going to have any issues. I am actually going to be attaching a swing to this for my 7-month-old nephew to swing in when he's here, and I have no qualms about putting him on this panel. So I hope this was helpful. I'm trying to really show how I'm creating my new garden space, and I know that putting up cattle panel trellises can be a little bit intimidating for people, because I know I had never bought anything really related to livestock. When you go into the store, whether it's a Rural King or a Tractor Supply or a local feed store, just ask somebody where they are. Normally you can just go up to the checkout and say, I want 2 cattle panels or whatever, and they can ring them up. I buy them at Rural King, and my Rural King has them in a stack outside, and then so you pay for them, you just go load them yourself. So they're not anything that you have to special order or anything like that. So don't feel intimidated. I know that I have felt intimidated going to buy like farm things before, because I live in town and I'm not a farmer. I don't look like a farmer. But these cattle panel arch trellises really changed the game when it came to gardening for me. This trellis right here that we just made, that is right here, this will have pole beans on it. So I will actually start planting out pole beans here in just like a week or two, and they will completely take over this trellis. It'll be nice and shaded underneath, and it will be absolutely beautiful in just a couple months. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any other questions about cattle panels and using them in the garden, please let me know. I'm excited to share other ways I use cattle panels in the garden. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next one.